Each week, nearly a dozen movies are released theatrically. 40 films a month, more than 400 a year. That's a plethora of cinema. Too much cinema. You'd have to be an addict to see all that. But don't fret. We've got you covered. This is CinemAddicts.
Heyo, and that's a horrible way to say it, but hello guys. Hello guys. Bruce is laughing because he knows I'm not Anderson Cowan. I know I'm not Anderson Cowan. Am I Anderson Cowan, Bruce or Eric? Eric Holmes, am I Anderson Cowan? Am I?
No, you're not. You're Greg Srisavasdi.
Not a golden voiced. Am I golden voiced?
Oh yeah.
Thank you.
Voiced, if you ask me.
Platinum voice. Bruce Purkey, I'm fishing for compliments. Am I platinum voice, golden voice, or copper voice? Copper tone? Copper voice?
Copper tone. I'm trying to think of something more valuable than platinum, and I don't know. I don't know. What's more? Your unobtainium voice.
Unobtainium voice. We miss you, Anderson Cowan. I am joined by my betters this week from Find Your Film, Bruce Purkey and Eric Holmes. As per usual, at the top of the month, we preview the first 2 weeks of November, and this is CinemAddicts episode 163. Some really good stuff this week coming your way regarding the first 2 weeks of November. So first off, I want to say something regarding Eric and Bruce last week of watching movies. Do you guys want to mention something, that any kind of pieces of advice or movie insights that you might not even put for the bulk of the show? Like, oh, listeners, watch this movie, or anything that you're not going to put in that you want to put in right now?
I don't know. Please, Baby, Please was really good. I like that a lot. Holy Spider was very good, and you should watch that. And maybe we'll bring up a couple others as the episode goes on. Okay. That you should not miss. You should seek out.
You should seek out anything else to seek out. You mentioned the Pixies, Bruce. I wanted to actually mention what's your favorite Pixies album, but let's not go off that tangent.
I mean, it's Doolittle, right? Or Surfer Rosa, one of those two for sure.
I think it's probably Surfer Rosa. I like Trompe de la Monde. That's also underappreciated.
Okay, so a musical segment from Bruce Purkey. Anything you want to say to listeners as far as just right off the cuff, cinematic wise, that we might not cover in the bulk of the show?
I mean, I think you should listen to the last Patreon that Anderson and Greg did. Oh, you're not in the Patreon? What are you doing? What are you doing with your lives? You should be in there listening to them talk about an amazing Ed Wood movie that I guess I can't mention it unless they want to listen to it. They can, but it's pretty good. It's pretty good.
Oh, thank you so much for that.
Pretty good.
Pretty good. You know what's also pretty good? And look, here's the actual segue. Bruce, Eric, are you guys addicted to caffeine? In the morning, do you wake up and drink coffee?
Sometimes.
Tea. Are you a tea guy?
No. I'd much prefer coffee, but I don't drink it every morning. Maybe like twice a week, maybe.
I drink it every single morning. I've been doing it since I was maybe 18 when I got into college. Bruce Purkey, what about you? Are you a daily coffee drinker?
Well, first of all, daily I turn on Metalocalypse singing about coffee, and then I drink coffee.
What kind of coffee? Do you like a couple of creams on your coffee? What do you like in your coffee?
A couple of creams? No.
Family show. This is a family show.
I put some. I don't know what you're talking about.
I don't know what I'm talking about. What did I just say?
I get a little bit of sweetened almond milk is what I put in mine.
Sweetened almond milk. Okay. How do I like my coffee? It's family show. Eric Holmes, how do I like it?
You like a copper toned is what you like.
I like a copper toned coffee. How do you think I like my coffee?
With Pam Grier in it.
With Pam Grier. Oh, very good coffee.
Well, there you go.
Right, very good.
Two
double entendres. No, this one works because coffee in Pam Grier style is spelled Coffey, if I recall. Very interesting movie that I haven't seen in years. Very good, Eric Holmes. The reason why I say this is because Anderson's been working actually last several weeks. He's been hepped me into this item. How would I say this? It's called a productivity shot. Okay. It's called the world's first productivity shot. It's called Magic Mind. And I've started for the last 3 days. And to answer a question that you, Eric, and Bruce don't even want to know, I take my coffee black. Okay. And of course, there is a corny old dad joke that I can say right after that, but I'm a black coffee drinker, been that way for the last 10 years. Every single day, I drink my black coffee. I eat my breakfast, and then I stress out about the day. Like, oh my gosh, I got to record Find Your Film podcast with Eric and Bruce, and I've only seen 0 movies, and I have 5 movies to see. I get stressed on Wednesdays. I get stressed a lot, even after the coffee. But after taking this magic mind for the last 3 days, I actually drink the coffee. And here's the thing. This has a little bit of matcha into it. It has a nice little, what does it say? It says, do more, stress less. That's what I need to do. Do more, stress less. I've tried it for the last 3 days. And if you've noticed, I've actually, I don't know if you've noticed, I've been a little bit more energetic. I'm not as depressed. Maybe I don't show that side of myself to you, Bruce or Eric, but actually this has given me a clarity of vision. I've worked out harder worked out as in the gym the last several days, better, thanks to Magic Mind. And also, I don't know, I think this might be the reason why we're streamlining our Find Your Film and CinemAddicts podcast and Deepest Dream website. I've had all of these ideas within the last several days. Perfect timing to Magic Mind. So listeners, if you support me or Anderson, or more importantly, support Anderson, Bruce, and Eric, you don't even have to listen to me. You can go right now onto our show notes, Magic Mind. You get 40% off your subscription for the first 10 days. Or if you pass the 10 days, you get 20% off your subscription with the subscription code CinemAddicts20. And here's the thing. I'm glad I'm pumping this because I actually enjoy Magic Mind. No lie. Eric Holmes, little smirk. What do you think? How did I do as a pitch man on something that I believe in? Yeah?
Pretty good. I was thinking of something to say, and I won't say it because this is a ad.
Say it. I dare you. Say it. You can say it.
I was going to say, the coffee's so black when Brian sees it, he crosses the street.
Oh wow, that is a cross-cultural shot, inside baseball shot.
But I love Brian. I shouldn't have said that.
Bald Brian.
Please cut that out.
No, I'm not cutting that out. That is a Bald Brian reference from Eric Holmes. Shots fired from the Film Vault. Of course, we love the Film Vault. Great podcast hosted by Bald Brian and our buddy Anderson Cowan, produced by Avery, I believe. Let's get to movies that we're covering for CinemAddicts the first 2 weeks, starting off with the weekend starting November 4th. Eric Holmes, what is your first pick for November 4th? What should people be put on their radar for this Friday?
Well, you got a couple of them on there that I would like to see. The one I'll bring up is the one we talked about on more in depth on Find Your Film, but there's a movie coming out called Missing. But if you're gonna look it up, look up Sagasu, Sagasu, and it's written and directed by Shinzo Katayama. We had this problem on the Find Your Film.
What do we have?
Describe this? So
I can do it. You want me to do it?
Yeah. Go ahead.
10-second pitch. Girl, she wakes up in the morning. A preteen girl wakes up in the morning. It's in Japan. Her father, who's a little bit of a layabout, alcoholic, he's missing. The rest of the movie, she's trying to find her quote unquote missing father. That's the premise of Missing. Oh, wait, there's a little bit more. It's 2 hours and 4 minutes. And like Eric said, there's a lot more. You might get to know her father a little bit more. But is he missing? Is he dead? Has he passed away? There's a little bit more about her father. Is it told in flashback? We're not going to tell you. There's also a young man. Who is he? He might be deadly. He might be nice. He might be charming. He might be all of them. There's also a mother. There's also a best friend or a friend who wants to be a boyfriend. There's a lot of different characters. And you're going to be, by the end of the movie, there's ping pong. By the end of the movie, you're going to be so, this is literally one of my favorite movies until Bruce Purkey tried to emotionally manipulate me and remind me of Petite Maman, which made me cry buckets. But Missing is a movie I know Anderson's been pumping. What has Anderson been pumping lately? Dinner in America, that's top 3 for him. That's at least a top 10 for me. I don't know about you guys, if Dinner in America is a top 10. Yeah. We love Dinner in America. By the way, I'm interviewing Kyle Gallner next week for Smile. Didn't tell you that on Find Your Film. I'm telling you right now on CinemAddicts, because CinemAddicts is our commercial film, our commercial podcast. This is when we can commercial with these big names like Kyle Gallner. So that's gonna be sweet for next week. But
you need to give me some of that coffee. It's working wonders on me.
Yeah, Magic Mind. Here. I don't have a mind. It's not magic, but now thanks to Magic Mind, it is magic. Now Sagasu Missing. I love this movie. Anything else you want to say, Eric, about Missing? This one of your picks. What can you tell our listeners on why see Missing in the theaters?
This is a movie about discovery. The less you know going in, the better, and the more you watch it, it gets even better than that. And the ending is probably one of the best endings of the year. Yeah, it's real simple. It's not like a big, like mind-blowing thing, but the ending is just like one of those. Sometimes you watch a movie and you watch an ending, it's like, that's really perfect. You guys nailed it. And I think this is one of the few endings that'll kind of stick with me.
Bruce Purkey, Missing. I'm not going to ask you your reaction. I know we all know that you love it, but will this movie be remade into a Hollywood movie? Because it has, come on, it has all. Does this movie not have the makings of a Hollywood remake? Yes or no? What do you think?
Were you trying to recast it? Is that what you're asking for?
I'm
Is it
just
gonna be
asking
like
is
what Millie
you-
Bobby Brown as the little girl, even though
Could
she's
be.
like 25.
Bruce, let's just say we're millionaires and we're executives. We see a movie like Missing. Do we plumb the depths of Japanese cinema and remake this into maybe no complaints on Netflix? Like, do we make this a Netflix or Paramount Plus movie or Peacock? I see the disgust brewing in Eric's face, but
I hate everything about this conversation right now.
You make it in a Netflix miniseries that never ends. That's what you do.
okay, but I think it does have the. Do you think it has the elements? I'm sorry, Eric Holmes.
It would, but they just kind of nailed it with this one, so I don't know why you would. It'd be kind of like remaking Memories of Murder. You could. I don't know why you would.
Very good point. Memories of Murder, another great film. So yeah, interesting. I still think, who knows what. Look, if that day comes and Missing is remade into a Hollywood movie, I know Eric will not rush out to the theaters to see this movie.
I will watch the remake, but I won't like it.
But you won't.
I hate that I'm going. What was that one with Jake Gyllenhaal?
Yes, The Missing. Not The Missing. Guilty. The Guilty.
Yeah,
The Missing.
So The Guilty
movie
was
with Kate Blanchett.
fantastic.
Yes,
but then they did the remake, and I kind of appreciated the remake for what it did.
Yes.
But at the same time, didn't really need to be done. That'd be similar to this.
I thought the Jake Gyllenhaal version was way better than the original. Don't you, Bruce? Is that what we said?
Everything with Jake Gyllenhaal is better, right?
Yes, we're kidding.
I mean, Taylor Swift was better with him.
Bubble Boy. We're talking about bangers here.
Bangers, yeah. No, it was a good effort by Jake Gyllenhaal. I understand how much
Good try, Jake.
Good try. Good try. The original is a masterpiece. Listeners, if you haven't seen the original, please see it. It's a way better version than, no disrespect to the Netflix version, which was still entertaining. Speaking of entertainment, Bruce, what's your first pick for the week of November 4th?
Got two that are very different from each other from all appearances. The first one I will bring up is Weird, the Al Yankovic story, which I believe is coming out on Roku. I think we can get Roku. I'm not sure.
Okay. Yeah, I don't even know how to do a Roku, and I'm sure it's probably.
I feel like I've watched one movie on Roku, so I think it's possible to do. Either way, it sounds. Well, first of all, it's got a pretty great cast. It's got Evan Rachel Wood, Daniel Radcliffe, Jack Black. You like him or not, he's on there. But I think what I think looks interesting about it is they're not even trying to tell his actual life. Like, it looks like they're doing a parody of his life as a meta commentary on the parodies he does. So this could either be an absolute train wreck, or it could also be an absolute train wreck, but also great. So I think either way, it's going to be really interesting. And I think Daniel Radcliffe is very sneakily creating a real repertoire of interesting choices in movies. And I'm starting to like a lot of the stuff he gets involved in. So I'm kind of curious to see this movie.
So that is Weird, the Al Yankovic story. It's going to be on the Roku channel on November 4th. Bruce, can you tell us what your second pick on November 4th is? This moniker is actually the way I like my podcasters, my fellow podcasters.
Yeah. Yes, I know.
So keep it down.
This is the ASMR portion of the podcast. So get ready. I don't know how that'll work for you, but
knock yourselves out. I'm gonna make scratching sounds on the microphone.
Okay. Anyway, here we go. Now everyone's left in total creepiness. So, Soft and Quiet, directed by Beth Arahua. I know I nailed that. Thank you, Anderson. I hear you in the distance saying nailed it.
Nailed it. Yeah.
So this looks really interesting, and I have a feeling this might get a little buzz after it comes out, because the things that I've read about it, I haven't read much. I have this way of, when I'm researching for this, I just read the basic, barest minimum of the synopsis, and I'll usually watch like half the trailer, just enough to get a feel for what's going on. And this movie appears to be a group of women all getting together in an afternoon. It looks almost like soccer mom types, right? And I believe this movie takes place in real time. So I think it takes place in like whatever, an hour and 40 minutes or however long this is of an afternoon. And it sounds like it starts out with them getting together, just kind of reconnecting. And then they go to a local, I think they go to a local mini mart. I think they might live in LA area. And then it sounds like things go incredibly sideways. And all I saw in little blurbs was it gets more and more tense and uncomfortable as it goes on. and I believe there's a racial element to it, and violence and all kinds of stuff. I think it's like an afternoon that goes as sideways as something in like Uncut Gems or something. Now, I'm not saying it's going to be to that level, but it sounds like it could be a really interesting indie movie experience.
Soft and Quiet, breakthrough director, 2022, sorry, Gotham Award nominee director Beth De Arujo. I hope I'm pronouncing it. I hope I know that. Just like
I don't know how you tried to do that after me.
my bad. Again, written and directed by Beth De Arujo. Soft and Quiet. How do I know this? Because yes, running joke. Now it's now a running tragedy. I have about 10 emails requesting, hey, you want to check this movie out? It's called Soft and Quiet. I just opened up the email today. I apologize to Eric Holmes and Anderson Cowan and Bruce Purkey because this seems like a movie from Momentum Pictures and Blumhouse that we should have covered. We should have covered it this week, but we cover so many movies anyway. So Soft and Quiet. I don't know. Maybe it's something that we should look into for this weekend as a rewind. Maybe next week for CinemAddicts and Find Your Film. Okay, so that is November, the week of November 4th. There's also Enola Holmes 2, which I think no relation to Enola Holmes 1. Yes, no relation to Eric Holmes 1 or 2. Yes, yeah, no relation. Have you seen Enola Holmes on Netflix? Did you ever see that?
I have not.
Eric Holmes?
I have not.
I would think maybe Sherlock Holmes, Millie Bobby Brown.
Yeah.
No,
I mean, I'm all the Holmes you need. All that other Holmes is just, you take it or leave it.
This episode has entirely too many Billy Bobby Brown references.
A house is not a Holmes, but this was Enola Holmes 2 is on Netflix. I'm glad you laughed at that little mini joke there, Eric Holmes. I'm gonna see it later tonight, and yeah, hopefully I gave the first one a really good review. Bruce, Enola Holmes, not your kind of thing, this whole universe? No? Okay, that's a shake. He's just, okay, no. Okay, that's a convincing no way for him. My pick for November 4th, along with Enola Holmes 2, is a movie called Nocebo. And again...
Excuse you?
Yes, excuse me, Nocebo.
Nocebo.
Not placebo, it's Nocebo. And my bad to, mea culpa to Anderson Cowan, Bruce Purkey, and Eric Holmes, because I should have actually given you guys some screening links for this movie. It's very good in theaters Friday, digital and on demand as well, November 4th. It stars Eva Green and Mark Strong. They are a well-to-do couple, I believe, somewhere in, I don't know where it's located, but I think they're a British couple. They're well-to-do, and they have a daughter who goes to private school, so they come from money. Their house looks like a little bit of a nice mini mansion, okay? But it's established right from the beginning, the daughter is very, very neglected because the parents are arguing who's going to pick her up after school, which is not a good sign regarding the health of a family. Eva Green is a fashion designer, and she's very successful. But the problem is, oh my gosh, I'm so mad that you guys didn't see this movie. During one of the runway situations, and she makes clothes for kids, everything's good. She gets a phone call, and when she gets a phone call, she's somewhere in the back room, and she sees a rabid dog with weird eyes looking at her, and she has a nervous breakdown. Cut to present day, I guess, in that time, and she is approached. There's a little knock on the door, and there is a Filipino nanny who says that, yes.
Hi, I'm Greg.
Hi, I'm Greg. I'm Greg. I'm Greg, your nanny. I'm Greggy Poppins, right? So no.
Popkins.
Poppins. But no, anyways, it's not her. It's I think I got to find the name, but there's a Filipino nanny. She says that, hey, you hired me several weeks ago. And she says, I did. She says, yeah, I'm here from the Philippines. And the rest of the movie deals with how the nanny interweaves herself within the fabric of the family, and ultimately you realize the nanny has a backstory, and maybe she has a very interesting way with animals. There's a mystical spiritual situation, and what's interesting about this is I interviewed the director Lorcan Finnegan. He's an Irish filmmaker. Eric and Bruce, you probably know him from the movie Vivarium, which I have not seen. Okay. And I think there's a movie he also did called Without Name. But okay, so Bruce, you should have freaking done this interview.
A short named Foxes, I believe, too.
Oh, okay. So obviously you should have done this interview. You don't have time because you're a full-time job. You would have done a better interview than me. Listeners, in all seriousness, why this movie works for me is there's a lot of social elements behind this horror thriller. It works more as a social drama. I don't mean that in a bad way, but there are some really great thriller elements as well. But I really appreciate it in my 30 plus years of covering cinema. I have not encountered, unless your name is Lou Diamond friggin' Phillips or Vanessa Hudgens, I have not encountered Filipino actors being a prominent part in a movie. And this is very good, a very, very well done movie. Down the line for our CinemAddicts and Find Your Film family, I will be having these spoiler discussions. Eric actually had a spoiler discussion with the director of Missing. What is the name of the director right off the top of your head? Eric, do you know?
Shinzo Katayama.
Yeah, so Eric has some spoiler stuff there, and I have a spoiler discussion with the director of Nocebo. That's going to be specifically for our CinemAddicts Patreon listeners. And again, all that money that you spent for the Patreon will only go to me and Anderson. Bruce and Eric will never see a dime for the rest of their lives. So if you're yeah, that's supposed to be a laugh. I was joking. Oh, okay, that's a sarcastic laugh. He's like, "Show me the money." No, don't be cool with it. It's all about the money, right, Bruce? Is it all about the cash? Yeah.
You told me not to laugh unless I was told to laugh.
Very good.
Oh shit.
Don't
laugh. But anyways, Nocebo is a very interesting movie. I'm going to do a bigger deep dive on it for our Patreon members, as well as if you read our stuff on deepeststream.com. So there's a lot of stuff that I want to cover, and this podcast you'll learn a little bit more down the line when we do some more CinemAddicts episodes. So that is the week of November 4th. Am I missing something, Eric Holmes, before we go to November? Yes.
I was going to ask you, that Nocebo sounds very interesting. Might you call it a yes-Sebo? Jokes.
Yeah, jokes. Yes, it is a yes, Sibo. I really enjoyed this movie. It's a 4-star rating for me. I should have covered it on Find Your Film, but we had a very packed Find Your Film episode. But Nocebo, this is a movie that I will be plugging, especially me being Filipino American. I'm Filipino, and I also am another ethnicity. Eric and Bruce, do you know what the other ethnicity I am other than Filipino?
Is it German or
German?
French,
Okay, that's your German,
Swedish. Like Thai Swedish, I think.
Oh, very good. Thai Swedish. Oh, very good. He's mentioning Thai Swedish because there's an actress named Priya Lundberg who I recently interviewed. I don't even know if you knew this, Eric Holmes. There's an actress named Priya Lundberg who I interviewed this week, and she is Thai Swedish. She is in a movie called Paradise City, which Bruce Purkey really is excited to see next week here for CinemAddicts and Find Your Film, right? It stars Priya Lundberg. Very good, Eric Holmes. Yes, I am Thai and Filipino. We are done with November 4th. Now we are going to November 11th. But before we go to November 11th, we're going to do a U-turn to the day before, because Bruce, he being a very enthusiast of Shudder. Okay, that uncontrolled laugh for Bruce, you're not allowed. Okay, so what is the movie you got for Shudder? Great.
Well, actually, I'm pulling even another turn. There's this movie, I don't think it's on your radar yet at all. It's an SNL production combined with Disney, and it's going to be coming out. It's called Greg S. Popkins.
Yeah, good morning to you. Yeah, yes, very good.
Any questions?
Any questions? Yes, very, very good.
Okay, anyway, November 10th, Shudder is releasing a movie called Mandrake. It's an Irish movie about a woman who is a parole officer, and she gets handed the case that she doesn't want, where a woman who's been in prison for quite a long time, who actually has been nicknamed by the community as Bloody Mary, because years and years ago, she killed her husband, hacked him up, and a lot of people in the area think of her like a witch, or that she's like spooky and weird. They don't know what's going on with her, and they don't want her in their community. So she, the woman that we follow, Kate, is supposed to be her parole officer. And the idea is that very quickly, 2 children go missing, and they're wondering, something might be up with this lady, and the community is getting up in arms, and the parole officer is like thinking that the people are just getting a little bit uppity about this and should just calm down a little bit. And that's the setup of this movie, and it looks like it might have a lot of folk horror kind of elements to it, and it looks like it's a pretty cool little indie production. I think it might be interesting. Okay, we actually received a screener link on October 24th. We should have access to it right now as we speak. I did not open that email yet, but maybe after your description of Mandrake, maybe we'll cover it next week for Find Your Film. Possibly, right? Might be maybe. One. We got lots of movies. I don't know.
We do. Well, look, Bruce, if there's only going to be one movie, if you're going to pull a Greg Srisavasdi next week and only see one movie, what should that movie be, Eric? Come on.
Take it down to the... I can't sing.
Yes, Paradise City. That is going to be our number one with a bullet next week with Priya Lundberg, Stephen friggin' Dorff. and John Travolta and Bruce Willis. Paradise City, get ready for it next week. But anyways, that's November 10th for Mandrake, Shudder. November 11th, what do you got, Eric Holmes?
All right, I got a movie called Bar Fight. It's so Bar Fight was it looked like it was going to be kind of a fun movie, and silly comedy, and you don't get many of those in the theater. But I saw that Jim Mahoney was writing and directing this, and I was looking up what else he did, and he did some movie called Gatlop, Gatlopp. I'll just read the thing here. Gatlop is a group of old friends reunite for a nostalgic evening of fun and games after a decade apart. After one too many, they decide to play a drinking game, but it's quickly revealed that this game comes with supernatural stakes. Mischief leads to mayhem, and the group realize that if they can't come together to win the game by sunrise, they will be forever to play for eternity in hell. So Gatlop is kind of a high concept sort of thing, but it turned out to be really, really good. Like a lot better than I thought it would. And then I'm looking at what else Jim Mahoney did. And he did co-writing on the Christmas movie Klaus, which is also really good. And so this is the first one. Bar Fight is the first one that I'm aware of that he's both writing and directing. And I'm just quickly becoming a fan of this Jim Mahoney guy. And I'm looking very much forward to see what he has with Bar Fight. Haven't seen it yet, but based on his prior writing credits and acting credits, because he does that too, I'm looking forward to it.
Eric Holmes, you're going to be doing a good job in getting me and Bruce and yourself a link for Bar Fight. Are you going to get us that?
We will see. Either that or I'll just have to watch it in theaters because it looks good. But we'll see. We'll see.
We'll see. You want me to actually do the email? You want me to pound pavement and get the Bar Fight links for all of us?
Oh, I already did that. I just haven't got a response back for if we're for sure getting it, but
okay,
pretty good. We'll see what happens.
I can lean. Bruce, should I do some of my union leaning on the publicist and just start
like
strong
some
arm
of those
them?
Thai muscles?
Yes, some of the little
right.
Thai muscles. Look at that. See, some Thai muscles. Look, bottom line is whether or not we're going to do the interviews or not is one thing, but the most important thing is hopefully we'll get to see the movie. Eric Holmes is on the horn regarding getting its links. Should be yes, sir.
And I think the most important thing about this is that we just don't get many comedies in theaters. Like the obviously the superhero movies, we've talked that to death. There's no shortage of horror, but like once in a while you get the indie or the dramas. Very rarely. More rarely is you get a really silly comedy. And like of all the sad bastard movies that we talk about from week to week, I'm really missing the silly comedies, like just the stupid silly comedies that make me laugh. And I think Bar Fight might be able to do that and maybe dig in a little deeper than they normally do. So we'll see what happens.
Okay, so that is Bar Fight. My pick for November 11th. I was kidding left and right regarding Paradise City. I have seen it. I can't quote unquote review it because the embargo there is an embargo in Paradise City. Bruce is thinking Greg is saying that because he hated the movie. The answer is no, I did not hate Paradise City. I actually enjoyed it. I can't do a full review on it though. It's in theaters, digital, and on demand. On the CinemAddicts podcast feed, you're going to hear my interview with Pride Lundberg. She is, like Eric Holmes was saying, Thai and Swedish, very worldly, wonderful person. And Bruce Willis. And I'm a huge Stephen Dorff fan. I'm a fan. I'm a stan. Eric Holmes' favorite Stephen Dorff movie right off the top.
Normally it would have been Judgment Night, but then Old Henry came out. So
yes. Old Henry, yes. Bruce Purkey, what about you? You gonna say Backbeat because you're doing the Pixies on our Find Your Film podcast? You're gonna say do Sutcliffe,
it's hard
Backbeat?
Not to pick. It's hard not to pick Old Henry. Oh, what's that movie where he's hanging around in the hotel all day? That's not my favorite. I know that one.
This Motel Life? The Motel Life? Yeah.
No, whatever that one was.
Really?
Was by Coppola, remember?
Oh, Somewhere. That was such a sweet movie.
Oof. Okay, I'll just pick something really Blade. How's that? There you go.
Blade, come on.
That's not a bad pick.
That's not a bad pick. But that's not fair, Bruce. You really loved Old Henry, right? So
yeah, I did.
What was that? What was that movie that he was in? SFW. Greg,
yeah.
was that
SFW? SFW. Don't date. Yeah, don't predate me. Yeah, SFW. This is a family show. It's so
friendly and warm.
So friendly and warm. Yes, SFW. Thank you, Eric Holmes, for putting me on the spot regarding that. I was actually at the press junket for SFW. That's how old I am. I am 51. I've actually covered that. I covered Backbeat back in the day, and I covered SFW. I love Steven Dorff. I even love those whatever e-cigarettes he was plugging a couple years back. But
the
blues, whatever those. But again, listeners, if you love westerns, and if you haven't seen Old Henry, go to justwatch.com. Find it.
Old Henry is great. Old Henry is great. What's sad about Old Henry is that movie should have broken through. And I hear a couple of people talking about it once in a while, but I really wish Old Henry would have just been like one of those movies that kind of bust through and really did something.
And I'll tell you what,
it's great.
I tell you what sucks about a movie like Old Henry. I think I don't know if it's currently still streaming on Hulu. Even when it starts streaming, you still don't hear that. It's not like before where you can actually hear the groundswell of support behind something like Old Henry. Even with a large platform, you don't hear that movie much. And again, if you love westerns, Tim Blake Nelson was robbed of an Oscar nomination, and Steven Dorff is very, very good in Old Henry. That is probably, along with Missing, probably our big top pick for CinemAddicts episode 140. Yes, Eric Holmes.
And it is streaming. It looks like Paramount, Hulu, Amazon, Redbox. It's streaming everywhere, either for free with a subscription or you can rent it. Honestly, I just buy it if you can find it. That movie's so good.
Yes, and I know Anderson is not the biggest Western fan, but Anderson Cowan, if you're listening to this podcast, your podcast and what podcast you created one night over a conversation over drinks with not Bruce or Eric, but with me, unfortunately. Should have probably been with Bruce and Eric. They'll probably make a better partner than me. But yes, if our friendship means anything to you, please see Old Henry. Now, I'm guessing this movie isn't as amazing as Old Henry, but we're going to close out the show with a final recommendation. How do we end with a whimper? Bruce Purkey, what is your November 11th? How did I build you up on this one? Can you tell us?
This really is a whimper. Well, actually, I should just do an audible and change it to a unicorn for Christmas, which I almost put in there too.
Tell us your final recommendation. Not recommendation, your pick, your preview for November 11th.
The Friendship Game, it looks terrible, actually, but it might be fun terrible. And I'm hoping that maybe it's even so fun terrible that it's a 3-star awesome movie.
I've played this game with every woman I've been in love with, and it doesn't work really well.
This actually looks pretty bad, but I was kind of charmed by how bad it looked, because it looks like this kind of combo of like just this Zoomer wannabe kind of horror movie, and and the funny thing about it, when you watch the trailer, is it really tries to attach itself to some great movies. Like it says, from the production company that brought you The Witch. And it tries to attach itself to all these like highfalutin elevated horror movies. But this looks like basically a bunch of teenagers get this weird like object. It looks kind of like a rotating sphere. And they hold it and play some game called the Friendship Game. And then one of them gets possessed or something. They all have really bad hair, lots of skullets and things like that, and bad colors.
Skullets.
This looks like bodies, but much less good. And I heard that's not great. So, but I don't know. Maybe this will be one of those ones that'll pop up on a free streaming service soon and you can check it out. And it might be one of those ones you have such low expectations for that it might end up being fun. I could be wrong.
And it also might be ended up in your recent emails on brucepurkey@gmail.com.
Oh, no.
and hamslime@gmail.com. I'm looking at 5:32 p.m. Pacific time and different times around the world. We received something. I'm going to look at the subject heading of our email. It says the Friendship Game screener. So actually, Bruce, you're going to jump into the breach for the Friendship Game.
No.
Hey,
you did this to us, Bruce.
And after you watch a Friendship Game, I'm actually having the PR people over at RLJE Films to send you a shirt. It says, I wish I was a Zoomer. So
yeah, I watched this movie and all I got was this Friendship Game t-shirt. Yep.
So again, that is it. Who knows? Look, it'll be an ironic twist of fate if the Friendship Game ends up being our favorite film of that week. Tell us what you guys are watching. And yeah, November 4th, November 11th. I think if you've gotten anything from this episode 140, in my opinion, look, as much as I love Paradise City, Missing, this Japanese film, hunt it down, figure out if it's playing in your local theater, Google it. Don't Google Missing, Google Sagasu.
Yeah, if you Google missing, you'll get like 100,000 different movies. If you Google Sagasu, Sagasu, it'll come right up. It'll be like one of the first things.
Petite Maman and Missing are my favorite films of this year so far. I don't see anything really supplanting Petite Maman. Maybe Missing might go down a couple of steps, maybe to 2 or 3 or 4, but in my opinion right now, it's not leaving my top 5 of 2022. And, I think probably the friendship game after next week will be number 4. We'll see what happens. Final thoughts, Eric Holmes. You want to leave our cinematic listeners with some words or pearls of wisdom or cinematic recommendations, anything off the top?
Yeah, you and Anderson mentioned Holy Spider, and we mentioned it as well on Find Your Film. And it was playing in select theaters, and I think it might start creeping out here pretty soon. Just don't let Holy Spider go the way that Old Henry did. Old Henry was fantastic and kind of got buried. Don't let that happen to Holy Spider, because Holy Spider is fantastic.
Again, Holy Spider would probably be a top 10 for me as well, or top 15. Yeah. Okay, final thoughts from you, Bruce Purkey. That's a great recommendation, by the way, Eric. Yeah.
I'm kind of torn, because now that you've got this new energy regimen, Greg,
Magic Mind.
Yeah,
yes.
I don't know where I'm going to go to find all of my Bauhaus and Cure TikToks every day. I just don't know.
I wanted some really great cinematic insights, but you know what? I'm just going to leave it right there, and I'm going to cut you right in the knees with those comments. And then you threw some Pixie stuff right over my head. I Surfer Rosa. I don't even know what that's. What's Surfer Rosa? I'm catching up, Bruce. I'm 51. I'm starting. Next up, Pixies.
Surfer Rosa is a Nickelback album. You should check it out. It's really good.
That's very funny, Eric Holmes. I did get the joke, but you know what? I probably really didn't, and I'm just pretending. But Pixies, Sonic Youth, Minor Threat, Fugazi. Yeah. What do you think, Eric? My recent playlist. I'm going to start doing those things. What do you think?
Yeah, I would throw some Faith No More in there. Some Ween.
Faith No More. Okay.
Flair, because Flair is awesome.
And where was Find Your Film podcast? Where were we mentioned over the Find Your Film podcast? Where were we mentioned recently, Eric Holmes?
Oh yeah, they got the RPG of the Real Thing RPG, the Faith No More RPG.
Yeah,
and we donated to the Kickstarter, so we're Find Your Films on the thank you page. So that's really cool.
That is very cool. Eric Holmes sent me and Bruce a screenshot. Find Your Film podcast is part of the whole Faith No More family. Thanks to Eric Holmes. And that is it. And Bruce, that was very, very funny. All these really esoteric stuff you're throwing my way. You're making me smarter. Your witticism and Magic Mind and the friendship of Anderson Cowan. Notice how I didn't mention Eric Holmes in the list. I just mentioned you, Eric Holmes. That is enough. We will see you next week, possibly next week on CinemAddicts. We have a lot more stuff to cover and to come down the road on CinemAddicts and Find Your Film. Thank you guys for listening to me, Anderson Cowan, Eric Holmes, Bruce Purkey. We're out.